Vidyarechiga mochika yogini Vidyarechiga mochika yogini Janani Savitri Sri Devi Gayatri Janani Savitri Sri Devi Gayatri Janani Savitri Sri Devi Gayatri Jnana Deepika Amrita Yogini Jnana Deepika Amrita Yogini Janani Savitri Sri Devi Gayatri Janani Savitri Sri Devi Gayatri Medha Vyapini Apyayani Yogini जननी सवित्री श्रीदेवी गायत्री जननी सवित्री श्रीदेवी गायत्री जननी सवित्री श्रीदेवी गायत्री जननी सवित्री श्रीदेवी गायत्री सिद्ध व्योमा लक्ष्मी योगिनी सिद्ध व्योमा लक्ष्मी योगिनी सिद्ध व्योमा लक्ष्मी योगिनी सिद्ध व्योमा लक्ष्मी योगिनी जननी सवित्री श्रीदेवी गायत्री जननी सवित्री श्रीदेवी गायत्री जननी सवित्री श्रीदेवी गायत्री जननी सवित्री श्रीदेवी गायत्री विद्यारेचिका मूषिका योगिनी विद्यारेचिका मूषिका योगिनी ज्ञानदीपिका अमृता योगिनी ज्ञानदीपिका अमृता योगिनी जननी सवित्री श्रीदेवी गायत्री 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 सर्वविद्या स्वरूपाय लक्ष्मी संश्लिष्ट वक्षसे मधुवासन लक्ष्याय अयग्रीवाय मंगलम् अयग्रीवाय मंगलम् शंखचक्र महामुद्रा पुस्तकाढ्यं चतुर्भुजम् सम्पूर्णचन्द्र संकाशम् हयग्रीवमुपास्महे हयग्रीवमुपास्महे ज्ञानानन्दमयं रामम् निर्मलस्फटिकाकृतिम् आधारं तत्त्वविद्यानाम् हयग्रीवाय तं नुमः the source of all that exists is divinity. We had been seeing that since 2 days. Whatever exists, in whichever manner it may exist, the source of all that exists is divinity. Thus, that which already exists is already perfect. When the source of all that which exists is divinity, all that exists is already perfect. Without that perfection, nothing would exist. When we look at this statement and understand the import of it, from that viewpoint, we can only see perfection. Because we will only see the source, and the source is already perfect, and that is divinity. When we see imperfection, that means we are not seeing the source. We are seeing that which is not the source, which is projected on the source, superimposed on the source due to ignorance of the source. And when we see the imperfection, naturally we will be influenced by imperfection and affected by imperfection, and we feel sad about it. And then we try to improve it, set it right, correct it. Instead of correcting our vision, we attempt to correct that which is seen, which is not properly seen, which is not correctly seen, which is not seen as it is, which is seen as something other than what it is. So that is why we need to understand this, that we have to look at the source and then understand that everything that exists is perfect from that viewpoint. Existence is the manifestation of divinity as form. Whatever form we see, whatever form exists, that existence is manifestation of divinity. Divinity alone manifested as form. There cannot be anything else. So when we understand that divinity alone is manifested as form, in and of itself, the universe is therefore harmless. How can the divinity harm us? How can that which is the divine cause any harm to us? So in and of itself, the universe is harmless. But when we don't see the source, when we don't recognize the source, when we do not understand the source, then we see something other than the source, the superficial. Then we may get afraid. Then we may feel that there is a harm. Then the harm may also happen to that which is superficial in us, by superficial in that. Because the source in us can never get affected by anything. And the source in anything else is divinity, and it cannot harm us. As we see that which is seen, so it will relate to us. If we see the outside, outside only will relate to us. If we see the depth, the inside, that only will relate to us and that only will respond to us. That is why it all depends upon our viewpoint. The viewpoint from enlightenment transcends the experiencer. This experiencer is the pramata, the jiva, identified with the internal organism, the experiencer. It transcends the viewpoint from the enlightenment, transcends the experiencer. Whatever the experiencer is experiencing, that can be transcended by shifting our viewpoint to the enlightenment. The viewpoint from enlightenment not only transcends the experiencer, but it also transcends the observer. Earlier we saw that we need to be aware of the content. Then we need to become aware of the one who is conscious of the content. And finally, we have to become aware of awareness itself. So, from that angle, the viewpoint from enlightenment transcends the observer, transcends the witness, and even the awareness itself. Because we have already seen the consciousness manifests itself as awareness. So when we remain in the highest viewpoint of enlightenment, it even transcends that, it remains as pure consciousness. That is why it is said, the aham of the Atman, or the I of the self, the I of the self is the expression of divinity as awareness. The I of the Antakarana is different, that is ego, but the I of the Atman, the I of the self, is the expression of divinity as awareness. So awareness is nothing but divinity in expression. If we are in awareness, when divinity is in expression, where can there be anything called as undivine, affecting the divinity, touching the divinity, influencing the divinity? It cannot. That is why awareness remains unaffected by anything that it is aware of. Because it is an expression of divinity, and divinity is untouched by anything. We are touched by all the things that are there around us because we remain as the eye of the Antakarana, the ego, who is covered by anger, by ignorance, and also connected with superimposition, mutual superimposition. So that is why we need to understand that awareness is an expression of divinity. That's all. The I of the self is expression of divinity as awareness, which is therefore beyond time and beyond form. When the divinity expresses awareness, it is beyond time, it's beyond form. It doesn't depend upon form, it doesn't involve in the realm of time. So the form is not required. Any form, not only gross, subtle, whatever form it is not required for awareness. The constant awareness of one's own existence as I is the ever-present expression of the innate divinity of the self. That I is the innate expression of the divinity of the self. So we have to shift our viewpoint from the I of the ego to the I of the divinity. And this is a universal, constant experience that is purely subjective. It is a subjective experience. It is not an objective experience. That is why it is said, from that standpoint or viewpoint, the self is unconditional. There are no conditions connected with the self. The self has no qualities. There are no qualities connected with the self. And the self is not dependent or explicable. It is not dependent upon anything. It is not explicable. The self has no duration. The Atma has no beginnings nor endings. It does not have any location, form or limitations. It is pure radiance of the self that illumines existence, without which there would be no awareness. It is the illumination that illumines the existence, and it is that awareness, that illuminator, that bhasakatva, and the whole world is bhasya, the illuminator. So the illuminator remains untouched by the illuminator. So the awareness is the illuminator. It is the radiance of the self. It is the divinity in expression for our own benefit. So the self is beyond the process. All descriptions are inappropriate and inapplicable to the Atman. But still, we need to use those pointers to try to understand it. All descriptions, all explanations are actually inapplicable to the Atman. So then, continuing with what we were seeing yesterday, it is said, Brahma Vedam Amrutam Purastad Brahma Paschat Brahma Dakshina Cha Uttarena Adashchordham Cha Prasadam Brahma Vedam Vishwamidam Varishtam. Yesterday we have seen that from the Upanishad. All this is only Brahman. And it is immortal. Brahman is in the front, Brahman is behind. Brahman is spread to the right, Brahman is spread to the left. It is below and it is above. So, this universe is nothing but Supreme Brahman. Everything that is there is Supreme Brahman. So, that is similar to what we saw just now. But the source of all that exists is divinity, and that is already perfect. The same thing is said in Mundu Upanishad also. Everywhere there is Brahman. Hence, that Brahman alone is. And continuing further, we also saw from the Parama Anandam Tadeda Brahma Purvamana Paramanantaram Brahmahyam. So, this is Brahman, or this Brahman is without anything preceding or anything subsequent to it. It is without anything interior and anything exterior to it. Therefore, in order to confirm what was already said, then the Acharya continues. This is what we saw the connection to the 5th sloka. Then we also saw the 5th sloka. Nachodvam nacharo nachantar namahyam namadhyam natiryam napurva paradik viyagya pakatva Nachodvam nachado nachantar navahyam namadhyam natiryam napurva paranik. Brahman has no such thing as upper or lower. It has neither upper part nor lower part. It has no inside nor outside. Nachantar navahyam, neither inside nor outside. Namadhyam natiryam. It has no middle nor any across. Napurva paradik. It has no eastern or western direction. Why? Because Viyagya pakatva khandaika rupa tadeko vasishta shivakevaloham. Because it is all pervading like the space. Or, in other words, pervades space also. It is one and without parts. Akhanda ekarupa. I remain as the one auspicious self, free from all attributes. So Brahman has no parts, neither upper nor lower. Because it is all pervading like this space. Then the Shruti says, Akashava sarvagatascha nidyaha iti shrutehe. It is all pervading like this space and eternal. It is eternal and it is all pervading. Madhusudana Saraswati said, continuing further, Viyataha vyapakatvat idiva. It pervades space also. So it is more pervasive than even the space. As it is said in the Shruti, Jyayan Akasha from the Chandogya Upanishad, meaning greater than the space. And from the Kathopanishad, Mahato Mahiya, greater than the great. So it is eternal, it pervades like the space, it pervades the space also, it is greater than clearly telling us that Brahman alone is the ultimate. And it also indicates to us that alone exists, that alone is, that alone is the truth, that alone is the reality. Rest all is only superimposed on it. And then it is also said here by Madhusudana Saraswati in the Sidhantha Bindu, point number 124. Though the Jiva too is big, because consciousness is seen to pervade the entire body, it is said to be only of the size of the point of a sphere. You already saw that explanation earlier also. Because of identification with the qualities of limiting objects. So the Shruti says that Jiva is seen to be of the size of the point of a sphere from this Veda Sutra Upanishad. Only because of the qualities of the intellect, though it is in itself unlimited. Because of the qualities of intellect, the qualities that are connected with the Upadhi are being referred here, superimposed. So it is said that Jiva is seen to be of the size of the point of a sphere. And Brahman too is described as atomic, anurupa. So it is said only in the sense of subtle. That means only with reference to that it is described like that. But otherwise it pervades everything and it is everywhere and it alone is. Continuing further, it is said by Ramaraya in Sidhantha Sindhu that just as a mountain gets reflected in a mirror, even though so big, mountain is so big, it gets reflected in a small mirror. The water of ocean, such a big ocean, also gets into a small pot. Such a vast ocean gets into a small pot. Such a big mountain gets into a small mirror. Similarly, this change has come only due to the adharam and not the actual or real change. It is not a real change, it is not an actual change. If they have said that Brahman is of a very small size and it is like the edge of a sphere, it is only because of the qualities of the Upadhi or because Brahman is getting reflected in the Upadhi in a particular place. That is why it is said like that. So, Hridaya Pundarikam is of the size of the thumb. That is why it is called as Angushta Matram Purushana. So because Jiva gets reflected there, he is called Angushta Matra. That doesn't mean Jiva is Angushta Matra only and is limited with the dimension. Because he is reflected there in the Hridaya Pundarikam, it is called like that. But actually, Ramaraya says, just as the space spreads over everywhere, the space spreads over everywhere and yet remains without any change. The space is everywhere and it doesn't change. There is no change to the space. Things in this space may change. From this standpoint of this example, Ramaraya says, Brahman also remains like that. Everywhere he is there, pervades everything, but there is no change. Actually, Jiva is of great size, but because it gets reflected in buddhi, in the intellect, the dharma of the buddhi, Anutvam, is superimposed on Jiva, then we think Jiva is unknown. That is why it is said like that. Otherwise, Ramaraya says Jiva is akhanda, a divisionless continuity. And Paripurna, all full. Eka, one and only one. Advitiya, non-dual. Chaitanya Swarupa, of the form of consciousness, of the true nature of consciousness. So this Akhanda Ekarupa Chaitanyam is Nirvikaram. There are no modifications in it. There is nothing that causes any change in it or change to it. Brahman alone is as it is. Rest all is only an appearance in it. That alone is. Apranavadoham avagachakshushi aprananevasmi amanahya buddhihi vyomena purnosmi vinirmalosmi dependency of hands and legs. Hands and legs might be there for the gross form that we have, and the internal organ might be positioned inside, and then the atma might get reflected inside, and then it might appear to us that all these things are binding it and it is identified with these things. So it is having all these things, but it is said here, I am beyond the dependency of hands and legs. I am beyond the dependency of speech organ. I am beyond the dependency of panchapranas. I am beyond the dependency of mind and intellect. Then what am I then? Yomena purnosmi vinirmalosmi. I am all pervading and full like the space. And also vinirmalosmi. I am without any impurity. I am without any maya. Meaning no maya upadi, no ajnana upadi can ever condition me, can ever cause any limitation to me, and thereby attribute impurities to me. There is no impurity, there is not even superimposition. Then Sadhaika Ruposmi Chideva Kevala. I am always of one form, which is without a second. I am of the form of consciousness. Consciousness alone am I. So when we look at this, and then we come to understand that even when there are these gross physical expressions in the form of the body, even then we don't depend upon it. As the pure self, there is no dependency whatsoever upon the gross things or even the subtle things. But all these which are very important to us, the body is important to us, the prana is important to us, the senses are important to us, the mind is important to us, the intellect is important to us. These all things are so important to us that we always depend upon these things and get identified with these things. Any change in these things, if these things are not functioning properly, not in the proper condition, automatically it influences and affects us, and we are affected so badly that we get lost of all other track and then get immersed in these things. That is why we said we are not dependent upon these things. And we are not limited to these things. We are all pervading like this space. Each individual self has to contemplate in this manner. I am all pervading like this space. And Purnasmi, I am not Asampurna. I am all full. That is why we title it all full nothingness. It is all full and there is nothing in it other than itself. Vinirmalosmi, totally pure. There is no impurity at all. When there is no impurity, then there is no question of any other misery, any dukkha. It is all pureness, purity alone. Sadhaika Ruposmi, Chideva Kevala. I am always of one form, no modification, no change. This will never change. And this is without a second. There is nothing, there is no other thing. So that it can get affected by it. And I am of the form of consciousness. Of the form of consciousness, pure consciousness alone am I. So keeping this in view, we will proceed further. Sidhantha Bindu, point number 125. Madhusudana Saraswati says, a doubt may arise that since Brahman is the material cause of the universe, this is one point, Brahman is the material cause of the universe, and there is non-difference between the material cause and its effect. Material cause and the effect, there is non-difference. Brahman is non-different from the universe, variegated universe, and is therefore miserable by nature because the universe is miserable. That is the objection rate. Universe is of misery. And because there is non-difference between effect and cause, and because Brahman is the cause, so from this standpoint, so Brahman also is miserable. So that is why some people express God is in you, God is in me, then he must be very miserable, very polluted. So that way, this doubt is expressed. Since the Jiva is non-different from Brahman, it cannot attain the Supreme Purushartha, liberation. That also is told. Then as I reply to it, the doubt is answered here. Madhusudana Saraswati says, Ityashakya Brahmana Swaprakasha Parama Anandam. The doubt is answered thus. Brahman is Swaprakasha, self-effulgent, and Paramananda Rupatva, of the nature of supreme bliss. It is Parama Anandam, supreme bliss. How can it be miserable? How can there be misery? And it is self-luminous. And when everything is self-luminous, there can't be any darkness near it. If it is dependently luminous, then possibility is there that the cause of that luminosity on which it is depending might not be functioning properly, might not be there because it is other than itself. So there is a possibility of darkness entering it or misery entering it. There is no such possibility. Saprakasha Paramananda Rupatva. Nikhila Jagat Brahmadishthanatvena Karanatva Vyapadesha Adhyasvena cha Samam Sambandha Bhava Na Tatra Anartha Leshaha Api Asti Iti Aha. So it is said, Madhusudana says, it is spoken of as the cause of the universe only because of the substratum of the delusive superimposition. It is said as the cause only because of the delusive superimposition in the form of entire universe. It is a superimposition. The entire universe is a delusive superimposition in Brahman. That is why it is said as the cause. But actually it is a substratum. And once it is a substratum, the substratum can have no relationship with what is superimposed on it. Like when the silveriness is superimposed on the pearl shell or the oyster shell is substratum, has no relationship whatsoever with that which is superimposed. Like the rope has no relationship whatsoever on the snake that is superimposed. Similarly, as a substratum, it can have no relationship with what is superimposed. Therefore, there is not the slightest trace of evil in Brahman. There is not even the slightest trace of impurity in Brahman. So the doubt that there is misery and Brahman is miserable because Brahman is the cause, that is clearly answered. There is not even a trace, but that has to be understood clearly. The impurity cannot touch. But only with the help of this clear understanding, we will come to know that as Brahman is Swaprakasha Paramananda Rupa, Swayam Prakasha Paramananda Rupa, it can never be touched by anything else. Someone went into a newly built apartment, which is very famous in that area. And he read a notice there. And the notice said, please do not try to water the plants that are there here. Because somebody might have already watered them. Then it will be a wastage of water which is in shortage. Already water is in shortage, it will be a wastage of the water in shortage because somebody might have already watered them. Please don't water. And moreover, the notice says, these are fake plants. Fake plants. In the end it says these are fake plants. Fake plants, but instruction is don't water and somebody might have watered. What is that? It is fake, it is not real plants. But they are watering it. And there is a notice also, don't water them. Water might already water is in shortage. Fake, but so much of transaction around that which is fake. Like that, on the Brahman which is real, the world which is fake is superimposed, but there are so many transactions connected. So many transactions that bring the reality to it. It is only Vyavaharika Satta that is all. It cannot be Paramahika Satta. Only transactional, that is only transactional level. That is it. If we understand the substratum behind it, then we will be different. Somebody went to a restaurant and after he ate and when he was about to pay the bill, they bought certain things for him to taste even then. And there was this fortune cookie also, where there is some nice statement which is mentioned there. So he opened that fortune cookie and then started reading the statement. It is like that. In case of fire in this restaurant, in case of fire, be calm, maintain your cool. First pay the bill and then run away. So that maintaining calm or cool is not for the sake of the person, it is for the sake of one's own payment. So, in this world, in the worldly transactions we see first the selfish benefit and then only something comes out. Generally, the people who are identified with their body, it is like that. And sometimes individuals do not know why they are there, wherever they are, why they are there, and what they are for. Why they are there and what they are for. Sometimes this will be the doubt in the individuals. I don't know why I am doing this. I don't know what for also. But why am I doing? Something has to be done, nothing else to do, so I am doing this. There are people like that. They continue doing for many years and they say that I am doing this. If you are not satisfied, I don't know. I am here. I am doing it. There was a person who thought that he is lost in a desert for 3 days. Lost in a desert for 3 days. And suddenly he comes across an Eskimo, and he is on his sledge which is drawn by the dogs. Eskimo drawn by the sledge, on the sledge drawn by the dogs, and he comes across that. And then that Eskimo comes there and says, how are you? And this man says, I am lost in the desert since 3 days. And the Eskimo laughs and says, you think you are lost in the desert? You don't know where you are? This is Antarctica, ice continent. This is the sledge, and this is the ice, and these are the dogs that are drawing the sledge. So, you are in Antarctica. Here, nobody is lost. The population is like that. You hardly come across anybody. No one is lost. Life is like this. But moreover, you said you are in desert. No, this is in ice. See, being in the ice, he thought he is in desert, and then he thought he is lost. Why? Because mind got deluded. A delusion is possible. And after delusion, something got superimposed. And he thinks that alone is real. Like here also, due to the ignorance, and then thereafter due to the superimposition, he got deluded. So we don't know what it is, and what we are, and what actually the thing is. So then, it is said here that the substratum or the adhishtanam can have no relationship with what is superimposed on it. That is the most important thing. Whatever might be superimposed. From the standpoint of superimposition, there might be so many pointers, there might be so many perceptions, and there might be so many experiences based upon the perception. None of them are real. Because they are seeing only their own mind's perceptions and not the thing what actually is as it is. If they have to see as it is, there is only divinity. That alone is reality. And whatever is being perceived, it is not divinity. It is only superimposition upon divinity because of ignorance. So that is why we said substratum alone is real. Therefore, there is not even the slightest evil or impurity in the Brahman. Continuing further into the next sloka. Na Shuklam, na Krishnam, na Raktam, na Pitam, na Kujam, na Pinam, na Hrasvam, na Dekham, Arupam tada jyoti, Brahman is no white, not white in color. It is not white. And Brahman is not black. Krishna. Na Raktam, na Pitam. Brahman is not red and Brahman is not yellow. But there are so many colors seen in the reality. And there are so many things that are there on these upadhis. They are all colorful, very colorful. But these things do not belong to Brahman. And it is also said, na kubjam, na peenam, na hrasvam, na dirgham. It is neither short nor long. It is not tiny nor big. It is neither short nor long. Na kubjam, na peenam. Neither tiny nor big. Na hrasvam, na dirgham. Neither short nor long. Then what it is? Arupam tada jyoti akarakatva jyotirakarakatva. So it is arupam. Here arupam is said in the meaning of it is not knowable, since it is of the nature of effulgence. Arupam tada jyotirakarakatva tadeko avashishtaha shivakevaloham. I remain as the one auspicious self, free from all attributes. All these attributes do not touch the substratum, which is Brahma. So the Madhusudana Saraswati says, Na Shuklam iti Kubjam anu Peenam mahadar. So, not white, etc. Kubjam means tiny, Peenam means big. Tena anu mahat hrasvam dirgham iti chaturvida parimana nisheda dravyartha pratishedaha. By denying all these four magnitudes, namely tiny, big, short and long, it is denied that Brahman is a substance. All substances will have these qualities: tiny, big, short, long. So Brahman is not a substance. It cannot be a substance. Rupyate idu rupam prameyam. Arupam aprameyam. So arupam here means what cannot be known by the senses or the mind. What cannot be known by the senses or the mind. You have to become one with it. Only by becoming one with it, then only we can really understand what it is. So, by this, the views held by various schools with regard to categories such as substance, quality, action are denied in Brahman. We have seen various views in relations in connection with Ishvara. Earlier we saw in the first three slokas various views of different schools in relation to the Jiva. Thereafterwards, in the next three slokas, we are seeing the various views of different schools in relation to Ishvara. So, Shankaracharya denies all those views, Madhusudana Saraswati clearly explaining and denying all those views. So, by this, the views held by various schools with regard to categories such as substance, quality, action are denied in Brahman. Brahman is not a substance, it has no quality, and it has no activity. In itself, there is no activity. So much of activity might be seen on it. It might be substratum for so much of activity. Similarly, inside us also, mind might be active, senses might be active, intellect might be so much of active, and chitta might be fully active with so many samskaras and vasanas and all that. We might be very actively engaged, but at the same time, the core essence of us is totally activityless. No activity at all. And it has no quality at all. It is beyond all the properties and qualities and beyond the gunas. And it is not at all a substance. It is a substratum, not a substance. Thus, Shrutis such as Astulam, Ananva, Ahraswam, Adirgham, Alohitam. From the Pervading Upanishad. It is neither big, nor small, nor short, nor long, nor red. In this manner, thus the Shruti has said this. And then it is also referred here from the Kathopanishad. Ashabdam, Asparsham, Arupam, Avyayam, Tadharasam, Nityam, Agandhavachayat. That which is without sound, without touch, without color, never diminishing, it is tasteless, eternal and odorless. Meaning all those things that are connected with the various qualities of the sense objects, these are all not there in it. It is without sound, it is without touch, it is without shabda, sparsa, rupa, rasa, gandha. And it is never diminishing. It has no color, it never diminishes. And it is eternal. So, this way, the supportive statements from the Siddhis are strengthening the statement here that the substratum has no connection whatsoever with all those things that are superimposed. Vidyadhyaha sarva anartha shunyam paramatma sarupam pratipadayanti. So, similarly, in this manner, the Shuddhis describe the nature of the Supreme Self as free from all evil. It is free from all evil. There is no evil getting attached or associated with the Supreme Self. In order to confirm the meaning of the Shuddhi, through reasoning also, the reason is given. Because it is of the nature of effulgence. The reason is, because it is of the nature of effulgence, no evil can touch it. No impurity can touch it. It illumines all. In its light, we can recognize the presence of other impurities and all, but no impurity can touch it. Similarly, when we see so much of impurities there in our Upadhi and then various other contents of the Upadhi, nothing will touch the Pratyekasma Swarupam, which is not different from the Paramatma. So that is what it is. Then it is said, Saprakasha Jnana Rupatvena How we can say that it is unknowable? It is unknowable because it is self-effulgent and pure consciousness. And prameyatve ghatadivat jadatvapatehe. If it were knowable, it would be an insentient object like the pot. It is self-luminous. It is pure consciousness. If it is knowable, like the pot is knowable, it is neither self-luminous nor consciousness. It is knowable. Knowable means what? It would become insentient object. So that is why it is not knowable. In relation to this understanding, it is said the Brahman is not knowable. It cannot be known through the senses. If it is knowable, it will become inert. Because it is self-effulgent and consciousness. So, the Shruti says, Etad aprameyam dhruvam iti shrutene cha ityarthaha. It is unknowable, aprameyam, dhruvam, unchanging, from the Brother Upanishad. It is unknowable and unchanging. How beautiful it is. It is not knowable. Unknowable, it is unchanging. So, meaning what? It is beyond all these sensory perceptions and beyond all changes. There is no change that happens. But in us, so much of change, as an ego, as an individual entity, so much of change happens inside, so much of change outside. So, outside change creates inside change, inside there is already change. At the level of samskaras and vasanas, and thoughts are already changing, and outer changes, and then we don't accept those changes, we want some changes, we don't want certain changes, and then we are affected by all that. At the same time, we can understand that as a jiva, we may be affected, jiva in relation to Chidabhasa Tattva, we may be affected, but as the Pratyekatman or one with the Paramatma, or as a substratum, we can never be affected by anything that is there. Nothing can affect us. If we don't know what we are, what is our original nature, we think that we are something and we think we are with something else, which is very important. We don't know what we are, so we want to be with something because we think already we are something. We don't know that we are all full, we are complete, so we don't know that. So we think that we are incomplete, and then we think that we need certain things, so we are with something, and we don't know what that is also. We don't know the real nature of that, we don't know the real nature of us, and then both these things which we don't know their real nature are in a relationship, which is actually no relationship. I have heard that once a policeman went for rounds in a park, there were some dark spots, from thick bushy spots, where some people use it for some personal advantage. So, the policeman went for rounds, and that was also in the evening time. So, there was darkness, and that was also a dark spot. So, he saw a man in close proximity with a woman, and he is kissing that woman. And he showed the torchlight, the powerful torchlight, he pointed on them, and then, "What are you doing here?" he shouted at them. And that man said, "I am here kissing my wife and close to my wife. What is your problem?" And this policeman said, "I am sorry. I didn't know that it is your wife, but there are people who come here like that. That is why I asked you. And unless I put the torch, I didn't know what you are doing." And that man at that time said, "Until you put the torch, I didn't know that this is my wife." So in that darkness, he thought he got some nice lottery and somebody else is there, and then he is close with that person and he is enjoying. And suddenly when this fellow puts the light, "My wife only," then don't only understood. Otherwise, he is thinking that that person is something else and he is in something else, not knowing that he is what is he and not knowing what is the other. That goes on like that in the delusion. Thinking that the person is someone else, he got involved with his own wife. But he doesn't know that it is his own wife. So what is ours, we don't know that it is ours. That is our problem. And then we want to make many things which can never be ours as ours. And for ours, we try to make others as ours. And we get into ours. A-V-E-R-S. That situation. That is what happens. And that is why we face reverse. And we see the obverse of what it is. And we get perverse. And that is why people say devas. Whatever it is. Whatever the idea here is, we need to know what we are, what is our core, what is the substratum, and what is the core of the other. Then the things will be different. There was once a doctor examining a patient. So the doctor held his hand like that, showing his hand in this manner, and said, "Now tell me, how many fingers am I holding up? How many fingers am I holding up?" And the patient said, "3." And this doctor said, "I don't know what is worse in you, whether it is your eyesight or your arithmetic." There is a possibility is there. There might be eyesight which is not in good condition, so you see 3, and there was the arithmetic which is not in good condition, that's why you have to say it. We don't know, possibility is that it can be that or this. But what happens is, as far as we are concerned, we have both. I have problem with eyesight and problem with arithmetic. Problem with eyesight, ignorance, avidya, ajnana. Because of that we don't know, we can't see things properly. And arithmetic, adhyasa, superimposition. So already ajnana is there, and then adhyasa is there. So we have got all problems. With sight also, with arithmetic also. Then what will we say? Our interaction will be based on false surmises. That will be a falsity. That is all. Unless until we know what is the truth, it will be all false only. One man was sitting close to a girlfriend. So he looked at the girlfriend and said, "Darling, when," he said, "Darling, the drink makes you look beautiful. The drink makes you look beautiful." And that lady said, "I am not drunk." He said, "I am. That is why it looks beautiful." The idea is, we are drunk with the ignorance, superimposition, and the delusion. That is why things which are not beautiful look beautiful. Things which is actually beautiful will not look at all, will not appear at all. That is the reason why our vision is being cleared here. Now we get into Sidhantha Sindhu. After seeing the Sidhantha Bindu's explanation of this sloka, now it is said by Ramaraya Kavi that delusion called as world is superimposition. He says the world is a delusion. Delusion called as world is superimposition. The cause of it is Maya. The substratum for it is Brahman. That is all. World is not created out of Brahman. Modifications of the world have no connection with Brahman. And the idea here gives is, in a desert we come across the mirage. The mirage cannot affect the desert. The snake cannot affect the rope. Similarly, the world cannot influence the Brahman. And continuing further, it says, intimate union or identification or absorption, especially into a deity. Absorption, especially into a deity or intimate union, is called as sayujam. So, due to sayujam, one gets mukti or liberation, or one gets freedom from misery. In Vyavaharika Dasha, if there is Jagat in Brahman, there is no mukti for Jiva. In Vyavaharika Dasha, there is Jagat in Brahman, then there is no mukti for Jiva. But in Paramarthika Dasha, there is no Jagat in Brahman. In Vyavaharika Dasha, there is Jagat in Brahman. But in Paramarthika Dasha, there is no Jagat in Brahman. Then Jiva does not get any artha, anything that is useless, worthless, harmful, and disastrous or bad. Hence, Parama Purushartha Prapti is certain. So we can attain the ultimate mukti, and that is Parama Purushartha Prapti, and it is attainable in this manner. So once we get into the Paramartha Dasha, then there is no Jagat in Brahman. So Jiva does not get any anartha, any harmful, any harm, or any disastrous or bad thing. That is what we saw when we see the divinity. In and itself, it is not harmful. The world has got divinity in the initial stages of this discourse. We saw world in itself is divinity, and in itself, nothing is harmful. And in itself and as itself, nothing is harmful, but it is only divinity. So, when we go deep into ourselves and we realize the true nature of us, then in that there is no superimposition here, so there will be no harm, there will be no disaster or bad touching us. Then Ramaraya says, Tadvan Nishta Visheshata Nirupita Tannishta Prakarata Shali Jnanam. This is called as Brahma. Meaning that in which it is that Jnanam which is its nature. That in which it is that Jnana which is its nature. Meaning, he gives an example. Ghatam, in the Ghatam there is Ghatatvam. And the knowledge that arises due to Ghatatvam is Brahma. Brahma is knowledge. The knowledge that arises due to Ghatatvam is Brahma. It is not there in Chaitanyam. Meaning what he says, in Chaitanyam there are no prakaras. Meaning, there is no manner, there is no mode, there is no method, there is no resemblances, there is no likeness. There is no resemblance, there is no likeness. So, this we cannot call as that Brahman. What is left here is only Atma. Anubhavam is not Brahma or Brahma, it is, its quality is Swayam Prakasha. In relation to that supreme reality and comparing it with the worldly realization of Jnanam by the Pramata or Pramatru, the knower or the Jiva who tries to know things. For Jiva, that mental modification and then that object and the knower, all these things are there, and through that he gains that experience of the object or knowledge of the object. But when it comes to the question of ultimate attainment, there are no such things. It is only direct experience of it. So, and that is Swayam Prakasham. Continuing further, he also says, Pratyaksham means Chaitanyam of the Pramata becoming one with the object. The Chaitanyam of the Pramata means the knower becoming one with the object. It is not becoming perceptible to Indriyas. Pramata is equal to Chaitanya joined with the doership in internal organ. In truth, Pramata is itself an object. Internal organ is superimposed on Chaitanya, and Pramata, the one who thinks he is a subject knowing the objects through a process called as Vritti Jnana, is himself an object. Because Chaitanya is superimposed, internal organ is superimposed with the Chaitanya, and Pramata is itself an object. Hence, is difference of Pramata in Atma. So in this manner, Atma is Pratyaksha, directly attainable. And in the transactional level, Atma is Prameyam, noble. But Avidya creates Prameyatvam to Atma in Vyavahara level. But in Paramagya Dasa, Atma is not Prameyam, it is Aprameyam, it is unknowable. In Vyavahara Dasa, it is knowable. It creates like that. Avidya can create anything. So only in Paramatma Dasa, Atma is Aprameyam, unknowable. In Vyavahara Dasa, it is Prameyam, knowable. Due to superimposed Prameyatvam, knowability, Brahman becomes known through Veda. Brahman becomes known through Veda how? Through superimposed knowability by the Veda. Hence, in truth, Atma is Aprameyam. In truth, it is Aprameyam. But in transactional level, because of this Veda, that superimposed knowability, it becomes known. And it is further Ramaraya says, Brahman is already attained. It is a Siddha Vastu. And not Sadhya Vastu. It is not attainable through means. You cannot employ certain means in order to attain. It is the Atman of all the beings. It is already a Siddha Vastu. You can't practice something and attain it. It is already there. It is already what it is. And that is divinity. Thus all that, whatever it is perfect already from this standpoint. The initial statements when we commence in the talk. So, it is the Atma of all beings. It is, if it is Sadhyam, then it will become Anityam. All Sadhyam is Anityam, temporary, impermanent. So in Siddha Vastu, there is no need for sadhanas. That which is already attained, what practices we need? So to know itself, there is no need for other sadhanas. But, Ramaraya says, still to remove the illusion of snake on rope, rope is already attained, it is Siddha Vastu. For that, there is no need for sadhana. But, Ramaraya says, still to remove the delusion of snake on rope, one needs light of lamp. Light of lamp is needed to remove the delusion of snake on rope. Similarly, the light of the Vedas is required to remove the delusion of world on Brahman. To remove the delusion of world on Brahman, the light of the Veda is required. To remove the delusion of snake on rope, the light of the lamp is required. That is all. Not to attain Brahman, not to attain rope, not to attain Brahman. Brahman is already Siddha Vastu. We can't attain it. It is not Sadhya, it is Siddha. It is already there. But the delusion has to be removed. For that, light is necessary. For that, Veda is necessary. That is why they have brought this beautiful scripture, its analysis. All this is necessary. So, if it is not having anything and if it is untouchable by anything, so why do we need this analysis also? But we need it because the delusion has to be removed. The superimposition has to be removed. That is why we need all this. And then, the Sidhantha will do point number 127. It said, according to you, who according to you attains the nature of Brahman? This is the question, the objection is being raised here. Who according to you attains Brahman? Is it Brahman or non-Brahman? Very beautiful question, objection. Who attains Brahman? Is it Brahman or non-Brahman? And then it is said, it cannot be non-Brahman. Since it is non-Brahman, it is insentient and unreal. So it cannot be the first, either because in that case, the instruction about the means to attain the nature of Brahman would be futile because it has itself the nature of Brahman. So what is not Brahman cannot attain Brahman because it is inner, insentient, unreal. What is unreal? How can it become Brahman? If it is Brahman and it is itself the nature of Brahman, and then the reflection continued, it says, if you say that through the jiva, Though the jiva is itself of the nature of Brahman, but the obstruction in the form of ignorance is removed by knowledge, it is not so. The Purva Paksha is saying it is not so. If the cessation of ignorance is different from Atma, the cessation of the ignorance is different from Brahman, duality will result. Ignorance also is there and Brahman also is there, so duality will result. And in that case, there can be no Brahman who according to you is one without a second. This is the objection raised. So in order to answer that objection, Madhusudana Saraswati takes the reference here from Brihadaranyaka Upanishad Bhashya Vartika of Shankaracharya and the answers in this manner. Avyavrittanugatam vastu brahmeti bhanyate brahmarte brahmartho durlabho atrasya dvidiye sati vastuni iti abhinnatve cha upadesha anarthakyam iti uktam. The entity that is not different from anything else and that cannot be found in anything else is called as Brahman. The entity that is not different from anything else and that cannot be found in anything else is called Brahman. If there were a second thing, then the word Brahman would not have any meaning. Brahman means it cannot have anything, any second entity. The entity which is not different from anything else and that cannot be found in anything else is called as Brahman. So there is no second thing to Brahman. So what is given as answer here is the meaning here, all the world is because of avidya, there is the adhyasa and that is there. That is why to remove the superimposition we need this analysis. Not to realize the pure Brahman, not to attain pure Brahman. It is already attained. But what is happening here? The light is required to remove that which is actually not there, that which appears to be there, but it is not actually there. So that has to be removed. And thereafterwards, the meaning that Brahman is not different from anything else because there is nothing other than Brahman. So also, Brahman cannot be found in association with anything in the manner in which Tattva or the quality of being a part is found in all God. So it has been said that if cessation of nescience is not different from Brahman, all the instruction about the realization of Brahman will not serve any purpose. But this objection also is being answered in this manner. Are you saying that the instruction does not serve any purpose from the standpoint of absolute reality? The instruction that is given by Vedas will not serve any purpose from the absolute reality or from the empirical standpoint, worldly reality, transactional reality. If it is from the absolute reality, the reply is it is acceptable to us. Vedic statement will not serve any purpose from the absolute standpoint. But if it is from the transactional standpoint, it serves the purpose. And he said, if it is from the absolute standpoint, it is acceptable to us that no teaching, no teacher, no instruction will ever be useful in order to attain that, because it is from absolute standpoint, there is only Brahman and nothing else. There is nothing else, not even Maya, not even Avidya, not even Ajnana. Only Brahman, non-dual reality alone is there. When non-dual reality alone is there and it knows itself as its own non-dual form, Swami Parama Anandam, Advaya Rupa, if it knows itself that it is non-dual in itself, Swami Prakasha, what is the point of the instruction? If somebody knows that somebody is a man or a woman, why do you need to tell that you are a man, make a statement? If somebody is in a delusion, that the statement has to be made. So Similarly, from the absolute standpoint, there is no necessity. From the transactional standpoint, there might be a necessity. So it is said from the absolute standpoint, na shastra, na shastram, na shishyo, na shiksha, na chatvam, na chaham, na vayam prapancha, swarupa avabodho, vikalpa sahisnu, tadeko vasishta, shiva kevaloham, tadeko vasishta, shiva kevaloham. So here Acharya says na shastra, na shastram, na shishyo, na shiksha. There is neither the teacher nor the scriptures, neither the student nor the instruction. After so many days you are telling this. Yeah. Had you told on the first day, there is neither the teacher nor the scriptures, neither the student nor the instruction, you would have happily gone away. So many days of misleading, now you tell that Adi Shankaracharya said this. And see, nachatvam, nachaham, navayam, prapancha, and neither you nor I. There is neither you. This is not acceptable. There is neither you nor I. Na aap hai, na hum hai. You are not there, I am not there. Now you will remember this good suggestion of your age-old friend. Don't go to Vedanta class. They will confuse you. They will say you are not there. And they will say something is there, but that is not there. You can't see. What you can see is not there. What you cannot see is there. And when I see that, you cannot see. Because it is beyond mind and beyond that. Can I know? You cannot know. Then what? But you know, try to know. To try to know that which you cannot know, that is why it is confusing. So, you must be remembering that. Better not attend this, but now please understand from absolute standpoint. See, neither you nor I am there. There is neither you nor I. Not this world. This world also is not there. Navayam prapancha. And the knowledge. Swarupa vabodho vikalpa sahisnu. So, the knowledge of one's real nature does not admit of different perceptions. When I know my own true nature, when I have the pure Brahmic knowledge of Brahmic nature, then no other perceptions are allowed there. I remain as the one auspicious self, free from all attributes. In that absolute standpoint, all these are not there. There is nothing to be told, nothing to be heard, nothing to be quoted, cited, referred, because there is no you, there is no I. When you are not there, I am not there. What is the point? I always is in relation to you. You is always in relation to I. If you is not there, I also will fall. If I remove, you also will fall. I and you depend upon each other. Transaction. I remove, you also remove. So what remains? Only pure consciousness. That alone is there actually. That alone. Even though the clay has taken so many shapes, clay alone, without any form, without any name, it alone exists. Similarly, Brahman alone is there. And then Madhusudana Saraswati later on takes us into certain clear understanding of various things. Before that, we will see something. One man called Rajashekar is telling to his friend, we were happy during the major portion of our life. We were happy during the major portion of our life. Then my wife and I got married. Meaning, when they were left to themselves, they were very happy. When they got together, they are unhappy. Meaning what? left to oneself without the second, there is this understanding of one's own true nature. Once that second entity is seen, something other than oneself, because of the delusion, because of the ignorance, then the problem begins. That is the idea. And somebody asked one girl, why are you wearing the marriage ring in the wrong finger? Naturally, normally you have to wear the ring finger, you are wearing the wrong finger. Why are you wearing the marriage ring in the wrong finger? And she says that to publicize my marriage with the wrong person. To tell everybody that I am being married to the wrong person. Probably many people would think that their relationship which they entertain are wrong, incorrect. Because there is something wrong with them. But actually there is something wrong with our perception of what we are, our knowledge and understanding of what we are. Because we are tied down and chained, and we don't know that we are chained, and we present itself as a big achievement. Like when Revati was talking to her friend, Parvati. So Revati said, my brother has a new job. Then Parvati asked her, where? He is connected with the police department. Then Parvati asked, wow, connected to the police department. Wow, how? By a pair of handcuffs. By a pair of handcuffs, he is connected to police department. Till that is told, connected to police department, new job, glory. But connected with handcuffs. That is a bondage, he is chained for his wrong way. Similarly, we are also connected with a pair of things. Avidya, Adhyasa. And added to that one gift, Brahma. And we think that we have got a new job and new department from now, but we are connected with that. That is the reason why we need to know that how we are getting chained, how we are getting tied down, how we are getting cornered by not having proper knowledge of the true nature of the world. Two women were discussing about the drinking habits of their husbands. So one woman was telling to another, see, my husband has a very bad habit of drinking alcohol. Spoiling his health, spoiling the fortunes of the family, wasting all money on that. We don't know how to deal with it. Did you not consult any doctor? Asked her. Recently, see, I consulted the doctor, and doctor gave me a magic powder. He said, you mix it in the tea and give it to him. It will create a reactive tendency inside to the alcohol, and he will stop drinking. So I took that powder and started mixing in the tea and giving it to him. And the other one, did your husband stop drinking alcohol? She said, he stopped drinking tea. He stopped drinking tea, not alcohol. What we have to stop, we need to know for sure. Otherwise, that which does good to us, which removes that obstruction, that itself we think it is not correct. So here, when they say there is no Shastra, there is no Shastra, there is no Shishya, that doesn't mean that it's all useless, there is no need for it. This is all required to remove, just as the medicine is required to remove the illness, just as the light is required to remove the superimposed object and the darkness, this also is required. From our standpoint, it is required. From the absolute standpoint, it is not required. From the absolute standpoint, Brahman alone is nothing else. Is so there is the question of trying to know Brahman. There is no need for anything. But from our standpoint, it is very much required. Somebody kidnapped the wife of a person named Sudhantha. Somebody kidnapped Sudhantha. And then they took her to a place, and thereafter she was pleading, leave me. Then they told, we have contacted your husband. Unless and until he pays the ransom that we have asked, we will not leave you. How much you ask? She says, 50 lakhs ransom he asked. And this lady said, oh God, I should have treated my husband well all these years. Because she had a doubt now, because she was treating him, and this fellow asked to call him and said, if you don't give 50 lakhs, we will not leave the wife. He may say, keep her. And will go. So the friend came to see him. And then I came to know that your wife is taken away by kidnappers. He says, cool man, cool. Hey, you are cool? For what? He says, nobody can tolerate her for more than a day. They cannot. They will come and leave her. And next day exactly the same thing happened. They gave proper to her. Our own ahankara, which is one of the components of the internal organ, along with its contents, is intolerable actually. That means everybody else is intolerable, everybody else is creating a problem. So the best way is to understand the divinity that underlies this ego in us and in others. So all that exists is divine. Thus, whatever exists is already perfect. There is no need for bringing any improvement to it. Nothing is imperfect from the standpoint of divinity. So when we become aware of our real I as the manifestation of divinity in the form of awareness, and the same awareness will keep us untouched by all negativities. And that awareness is our own consciousness, that is Brahman. That is untouched. From the absolute standpoint, that needs nothing. But for you and I, we need all this. So we will try to go into the 7th sloka later on. Om Bhagishwaraya Vidmahe Hayagrivaya Dhimahi Tanno Hayagriva Prachodaya Om Akshareshwaraya Vidmahe Mantrarajaya Dhimahi Tanno Hayagriva Prachodaya Om Hamsasoham Vishwavadirna Rupaya Chinmayananda Rupini Tubhyam Namo Hayagriva Vidyarajaya Vishnave Swaha Hamsasoham Om Shri Hraum Om Namo Bhagavate Hayagrivaya Vishnave Mahyam Meham Prajnam Prayachasvaha Hayagriva Mangalam Hayagriva Mangalam Vishnave Mangalam Vishnave Mangalam Vidyaraja Mangalam Vidyaraja Mangalam Vishnave Mangalam Vishnave Mangalam Hayavadana Mangalam Hayavadana Mangalam Vishnave Mangalam Vishnave Mangalam Hayagriva Mangalam Hayagriva Mangalam Hayagriva Mangalam హయగ్రీవమంగళం సర్వే భవంతు సుఖినః సర్వే సంతు నిరామయాః సర్వే భద్రాణి పశ్యంతు మా కశ్చిత్ దుఃఖభాగ్ భవేత్ అసతో మా సద్గమయ తమసో మా జ్యోతిర్గమయ మృత్యోర్మా మృదంగమయ ఓం శాంతి శాంతి శాంతి. హరి ఓం శ్రీ గురుభ్యో నమః. శ్రీ పరమా